I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Cook? Here. Trustee McElwain?
Here.
Trustee Altmansey? Here. Trustee Sellers? Supervisor Sellers?
Here. And we have a quorum. Okay, trustees, the first order of business is the approval of minutes for the February 22nd, 2022 meeting. A motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
All right, please take a look at the minutes here if you haven't done so already. Any questions on the minutes? All righty. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All righty. Motion carries. The next order of business is bills payable. A motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by McElwain, second by Cook. Please take a look at the bills payable if you haven't done so already.
His cock is off. Never. What's more, his cock is off.
We are looking at bills payable.
I'm looking at it, Pat.
Okay.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
JBKM.
JBKM.
Second page.
That is
First page.
our
JB.
that's our storage unit.
Oh.
Yes, that's our storage unit. Which I'm looking at getting taken care of and get off of our bills payable because the stuff in there that we've already approved to be shredded and taken away. So I just got to get some people there to remove the stuff and take it to the salvage yard. It's some old filing cabinets and things of that nature.
Oh, okay.
So.
They're old enough where nobody else wants them.
Yeah,
So it's not like
there's not.
that time in April when your excess stuff.
Yep, no. Are there any questions or comments in the minutes? All righty, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Cook,
Yes.
Trustee McElwain,
Aye.
Trustee Sellers,
Aye.
Supervisor Sellers,
Aye.
Trustee Altmansey, aye.
All righty, the motion carries. The next order of business is a presentation of Appropriation Ordinance 2022 TO01 fiscal year 2022-2023. It's our appropriation ordinance. I need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
All righty. I'm going to hand it out. It's just to hand out to you guys. We'll have discussion on that at the next meeting. So you guys, hand it around, please.
I don't need
There
a
you
cup. I
go.
got one.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Okay, but you'll need one for yourself and one for Barb.
Okay.
And I'll have one here for Mike.
Oh, duh.
Yes. All righty. So, with that being said, we are going to go on to our next. Huh? No, we don't have to have any
No,
sort of anything.
the town hall meeting and then the approval of bills payable. Should go up there, right?
Yes.
And this should be down here. Okay.
All right. Okay, trustees, the next order of business is the approval of our annual town hall meeting agenda. I need a motion and a second on that. Have you guys seen it?
Yeah.
Okay, need a motion and a second?
That's this one.
Yes. Still need a motion and a second, guys.
Second.
Thank you.
We was kind of asleep.
Yeah, it's all right. Wow.
Did I get one? I didn't get one.
You didn't?
I don't think.
Can I have this
I
one?
see it.
You know that.
Okay,
I
thank you.
pretty much know what it looks like. It looks the same every year.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. So have you guys, with that, have you guys looked at it? Are you guys, I'm going to do a voice vote. So all in favor for the agenda? Aye. Any opposed? All righty, motion carries. Trustee Cook?
No.
No, what you get? What you get?
No, nothing.
Okay. All righty. The next order of business is a presentation from Spigot.
Okay.
The floor is yours, Mr. Redmore. The board members, do you guys have your?
Yes.
Buddy?
I got that.
Yeah. So
Okay.
should that be one of the numbers?
Huh?
What? I did.
Should
Turn
it-
upside
should
down.
it
It's
be
not on
the
here.
agenda? No.
My sister.
No, you're gonna have to add that.
I
in.
will.
Wait a minute,
I'll go
so,
down here.
okay.
I'll do this is 7. Okay.
All right. Mr. Redmore, the floor is yours.
My name's Dave Whitmore. I own Big Networks. I've been providing IT support for the township for quite a few years. And have started having conversations with all of my clients about moving into what are known as more managed services approach to doing IT support. So Patrick and Maida and I had a conversation several months ago about how we really need to move into this kind of new way of approaching IT support. So traditionally, Spigot and many IT companies have been what are known as a break-fix IT vendor. So, you have some PCs, you might have a server, you might have some printers, and something stops working and you call us and say, our printer's not working, or we wanna, or we're project-based, we wanna add some new staff, we need some new computers, or we wanna add wireless. So what we've always done traditionally is very break-fix. It breaks, we fix it, or a project that comes up and you give us a call and we say, we can do that, and here's a cost, and we go from there. What that leaves is a real need and a hole for just ongoing proactive maintenance of computer equipment. So more and more organizations are becoming more and more dependent on their IT. It's no longer really, optional to have a computer down for a few days, or and of course increasingly the security risks are every day having bigger implications. So now you can very quickly lose all of your information and access to all of your computers within a few minutes because of the security issue. Problems with you losing personal data stored on computers. It's a compounding problem that has to be addressed. So again, Spigot's kind of trying to fill that hole in a very loose and informal way. So if Maida has a problem with the computer and we come and look at it and we go, hey, you haven't installed Windows updates for a little while, or we have some other issue and we might take a look at something while we're working on that, but it really isn't a formal and organized approach that keeps everything running and safe. And so we need to move into that approach where we organize the IT structure in a process, in a formal process that monitors and manages everything. So that's why we're moving into this managed services business, which is really where the industry has gone and is going. And honestly, we're a bit behind in getting there. I guess in a perfect world, the way that organizations like the township might approach this would be that you would just maybe hire a part-time IT person. You could have somebody come in for 10 hours a week or something. They knew what they were doing. They could kind of take care of this proactive stuff, but that just really isn't practical for a lot of reasons. And it's because of that need that this industry's kind of grown up and really been the way that organizations are approaching this problem. What we've put together is a proposal going forward that would be a monthly service. It's based essentially on a per user fee. So there's a per user fee for every named user that needs support in the organization. And then there's a cost per month just to make sure that the server's up to date, backups are run, monitoring, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the approach that we're taking with the managed services proposal that we've put together. There's 4 main components that we are looking to address with this managed services product or offering. And one is to centrally monitor and manage the security and the patching of PCs and servers and backups. So all of that becomes organized through a software stack that we deploy as part of the service, where we have a dashboard and we can see, this machine needs updates and these backups stop running, and we can just go in and take care of that proactively rather than finding it 2 weeks, 2 weeks after backup stopped running. And then we also offer remote help desk support. So just whenever somebody needs help, they can just call us. We jump in their computer, resolve the issue. Everybody moves forward very quickly and efficiently. The third piece is where we really look to proactively align the technology itself that an organization is using. So if there are, as we see, this operating system is really getting out of date, this computer's out of date, sometimes we'll come across a user who's been using a computer and they've been getting by, but that computer is really inefficient. They're not being able to work efficiently. So
Bless you.
by technology alignment, we mean proactively looking at that and saying, look, this computer's 8 years old. This user is, working at half the productivity that they should be able to. So we need to address that issue. And then proactively aligning your business needs as well. So we want to look at the organization and say, throughout the course of the year, we would sit down with, Patrick and Maida and say, what could we do? Where can you implement better technology to make your organization better? So that's the fourth piece of sort of business alignment. So we want to meet on a proactive basis again to look at the organization and see what we can bring and where to move going forward to keep your organization, leveraging technology in the best possible way. So that's kind of the approach that we're presenting, and what we're proposing is the best solution to keep the township, more proactively up to date, safe, secure, and that's what we're looking at.
And I had issue with the backups. I mean, we ran into that problem.
Yes.
Because I'll get an email and say it looks, everything looked okay, and then maybe I'll get an email that says it doesn't, then it looks okay again. And when I got enough of them, I contacted Dave and said, okay, what's going on here? And we found out we had to replace both of the drives and both of the backups, correct?
Yeah.
And yeah, luckily I caught it soon enough.
Yeah, and backups are a great example of where this can be a problem, where it's not, formally structured.
Mm-hmm.
So we run into this all the time. A user says, okay, I'm gonna be responsible to keep track and make sure that I get the emails for the backups.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they they get those emails and they get them for 2 months or 6 months, and that's fine. And then when they don't get them for a day, and then they don't get them for 2 days, and then on the third day they honestly forget that they ever should have been getting them.
Yeah.
And it's a month later, literally, and we are then, you know, and then somebody calls and says, hey, you know, my printer's not working, and so we just stop in. And again, it's that informal process
Right.
where we're trying to help and keep an eye on things, but it's just, your backups haven't been running for a month. Nobody realized it. Whoever was supposed to be checking it, they're busy. That's not what they need to be worrying about, and they just didn't realize that they weren't getting emails anymore. So, yeah, Windows updates, security patches, all of those things are just things that have to be addressed and taken care of proactively, and users have their work to do. So they just aren't gonna be able to stay on top of it as well as they really need to.
Also keep in mind, trustees, that my mind always goes to the worst case scenario all the time. And what I mean by that is cybersecurity for our organization. And when I'm thinking back to how our county got hacked before and had their information held for ransom, we don't want that to happen to us. This has become a hot topic for townships statewide. I mean, we're now getting different legislations coming down the pike as far as it relates to cybersecurity. TORMA has now added a whole new section to its insurance policy for cybersecurity, and this falls right in line with what TORMA is asking townships to do. So,
and I can kind of give you an example of the township's kind of exposure and how, you know, to be honest, the way that we've been approaching this and working is that we've kind of been providing managed services without really charging for those services in a lot of ways. And obviously that doesn't work for us as a business, but just an example, you know, you have an email server, and I think it was probably 6 or 8 months ago, I mean, there was a really significant security issue that came out related to the type of email server that the township runs. Now, it was on a Saturday. I saw that come up. I recognized it as a huge problem. I proactively at that time, I had other customers also, went in, made sure to patch the issue, checked for, checked to make sure that the server hadn't already been compromised, did all the cleanup. So we did that because I felt a responsibility to do that. But again, I didn't really have any formal responsibility for that. I really didn't. I took it upon myself to make sure that the server was secure. But nobody asked me to do that. Nobody in this organization would have known to ask to do that. And those are the kind of issues that come up that there has to be a way to deal with that. And just having a traditional, hey, this isn't working, or hey, it's really weird, we came in on Monday and our email server's acting oddly, can you come take a look at it? And then we show up and say, oh, it looks like, you know, the proxy login vulnerability has been compromised, and now we've got a mess. So that's just kind of an example of what all organizations are facing and why you really need, again, any organization at more than 10 users or around 10 users or more, you need some kind of constant, ongoing, proactive support, whether that was staff or a managed service offering like what we're putting in.
It used to be back in the day, we had somebody for the copy machine, somebody for the fax machine, somebody for the computers, and so much has changed.
Yeah.
You know, those big giant computers that we had back in the day.
So what do you do now?
Corel.
No, I'm saying as your service. What do you do without asking for this?
I'm not following the question.
I guess we pay you for what service now? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, huh?
Like individual tickets.
yes.
So on
Okay.
any given
Okay.
month, when you see like spigot charges,
Yeah.
it'll be for like the specific issue. that
Oh, okay, so something that happened that
Something
month.
broke,
Yeah.
either something broke and we fixed it,
Yeah.
which is kind of the break fix thing that I'm talking about. Either something broke when we fixed it, or there was a project where somebody said, we need a new PC, we need to add wireless, there was some project-based. So there will still be project-based issues that will always come up with an organization as things change. And those will continue to need to be addressed outside of any kind of managed services. But we are looking, so this would eliminate kind of like the small break fix tickets, we can't print, the server needs rebooted, little things like that. That just facilitates a much easier, all that, those small remote help desk kind of things are just included in the cost. So we don't have to send, 6 different invoices for half an hour at a time. So it makes things quicker and easier from our side too, because of the kind of tools that we deploy as part of the service. It just makes it easy for us to jump in and just resolve issues very efficiently.
Okay, so you only came in when as needed?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay. That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
So now this right here, you're saying every month you're there every month just checking out all the computers.
Yes.
Every month for 100.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, then what's the 275? That's what?
So that would be per user. So that's basically an assumption that any given user throughout a month, if you kind of break it down, needs, let's say if you did hire an IT person, but let's take that approach. That person will be in here, a few days a week. And in that, during those days, they might go around and they would check on Maida's computer, and they might fix a problem for her and run her updates and run updates on somebody else's. So it kind of breaks down to, within the course of a month, any given user probably needs about an hour of time at some level to just make sure that their machine is running, take care of their any miscellaneous help desk things that come up, and keep them patched and security issues taken care of. So that per user is any given person in the organization that has a computer probably needs about an hour altogether, whether it's one-on-one or just somebody going in and making sure their computer's up to date. And then there is the overall, township has a server that isn't associated with a particular user, but that server still needs to be monitored, kept up to date, make sure that the security is up to date on it. Network switches, the routers, the infrastructure of the IT. So
The
that's kind of
backups
like,
too, with the backups
and
falling.
backups, right, and just making sure that the backups are running.
And so that's
So-
every month
Yes,
also?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is that like, before this, it was, you were getting so many invoices every time you
Sure.
got called, would get
Right.
an invoice for, let's say, $100.
Right. And the bottom line is, like, right now today, the organization, like, I have no idea. I think that pretty much everybody has their software, their Windows software is up to date, and I think everybody has ESET up to date, but I couldn't tell you definitively. And that's where we need to be. I need to be able to say at any given moment, yes, absolutely, every single computer in this organization has up-to-date antivirus, has all Windows patches installed, all Java patches installed. So right now, there is a big need. I'm not 100% sure that the backups ran last night. All those things. So we want to eliminate that uncertainty and that risk.
Well, and I just emailed Amber at Spigot Friday, I think, just to give her heads up that all our antivirus are coming due at the end of March.
Right.
So I went into each computer to make sure that the expiration date was all the same where that would be something you'd be monitoring on
Yes.
your own. I wouldn't have to take
You
the
wouldn't,
time to
right.
go through all of those.
And I don't know how often this may or may not happen with the township but for example, if you had some kind of a virus warning, any given person, they might have something pop up and they're like, okay, I'm gonna click decline, or I'm gonna click delete, or and everything seems to be okay. But in this environment, we would actually get an alert. This computer had this warning come up. We can look at it, analyze it, say, okay, that's fine, we're good, or no, I'm not comfortable with what I just saw come up with this ESET alert. and I wanna look further, and I can proactively, again, that's kind of part of that just time that is spent. You would never know, we never show up, you know? It's
Because
just
you're
that-
doing it remotely,
Because it's all done
right?
remotely, it's all triggered remotely, it's all centrally managed, that's, you know, and there's a pretty significant cost to just putting that infrastructure in place so that we can always be aware of any issues that come up, and it's not hit and miss, I think we're okay. Oh, I forgot to mention that I did have ESET throw up a giant red window the other day that said, you know.
Well, and we've had that
stuff
happen.
happens, you know.
Right, and we've had that happen a couple times, which we've contacted you, but then you've had to go and research it and all that too.
So,
Okay.
Would this include making sure our systems are set up where, we could get to just one, every employee having just one computer? Like there's a system set up where there's a central database and a person doesn't need two computers. I mean, the norm is for people to be able to work remote and in person with one computer. So does these services include getting us to that point?
It could over time. I wouldn't say that the service in and of itself moves you towards that, other than to the part that I was talking about where there's the element of, you know, we're gonna sit down proactively with Maida, Patrick, Liz, and say, okay, what's going on with the organization? You know, what issues are you having? So looking at that would be part of the proactive interactive service of making sure that we sit down once every couple months, see what the needs are, see where the issues are, and then look for ways to resolve them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's not the answer I was really looking for. Because I mean, to me, it's just like today's world. Like very few people have two computers for work.
Yep.
So it just seems kind of interesting how you answer, well, not right away. So it's like if you can't do it right away, then what would need to happen to make it happen sooner to get more with the norm? And like, what's the barrier to doing that with these services?
I guess I would need to know like the specifics of like who has two computers, or what's the specific issue that's.
All the employees do that.
What we did was, when we were working remotely from home, we had laptops for some of our employees to work remotely from home.
Oh, sure.
So the laptops are here, and if they need to work from home, they would take them with them to go home.
Right.
So yeah, that's what he means by they would have two computers.
I see what you're saying, sure.
That's what he means.
So actually, so in a large organization that has, if you had, you know, one laptop and you worked off that laptop and had access to all the resources that you needed, a large organization would have a central server that has what's called remote desktop services. So your laptop connects to that server via remote desktop services, right? Well, because of the way that we had to deploy remote access for the township in particular, what can we do today? Well, we need a laptop, and then that laptop user needs to be able to connect to a work environment here.
Right.
So that the data itself, you know, from a security standpoint, just kind of work that through. You don't really want the data necessarily on the laptop floating around the world. You want that laptop to connect to something internally.
Yeah.
So, because we were kind of working on the fly, yes, would it be more ideal to have a central server with remote desktop services and then a laptop for every user and they connected into remote desktop services? That would be probably the more ideal solution long term. But where we are today is that everybody has a desktop PC and they needed a laptop so that they could work remotely. So we kind of had to work on the fly.
So would this service, part of that, include getting us to that point?
Can it?
It can, but I want to make sure that I answer clearly that this is not going to include projects. It will include the process of understanding the best use of your resources and what projects do you need to accomplish, so that it's a more structured approach to say, what challenges are you having? What frustrations are you having? How do we solve them? Let's set a budget for the project part of what needs to happen, say, next year, and lay that out and say, so in the next year, this is our budget for projects, and this is what we've decided are the most important projects to get done. So this creates a formal process instead of this sort of, loose, well, so-and-so needs to work remotely, so we're just gonna do that, and,
Right.
Patrick Maida doesn't necessarily know the right questions to ask, they just know what they wanna accomplish, and if we don't have a formal structure of sitting down once every couple months and talking about that, things
Right.
it's just kinda loose,
So if after having a conversation with Patrick and the township says we want to get to a system where it's one central server, everyone has a laptop that can, they can access remotely and work here, would you be able to design that system? I know that would be a different project.
Sure, absolutely.
It wouldn't matter to be included in this
Yes.
price, but
Right.
you would be able to design that
Absolutely.
and make sure we
Yes.
get to that point.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I was getting.
Yeah, absolutely, and more than that, that's really a specific part of this proposal and package. Meaning, there is a specific part of this that is sitting down once a quarter.
Right.
And, say, what are we working on, what are the
Gotcha.
challenges, what's the friction, how can we make this better? Let's set a budget and have a plan.
Gotcha, perfect.
So
Okay.
that's what we're trying to, that is a very important part of this, is creating a structured plan so that it's not just kind of like
Right.
hit and miss and,
All right, that's what I was looking for.
Okay.
This is something we definitely need to get to.
Sure.
So just making sure if you have this contract, you can help us get to that point.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yeah.
And
So
then
the-
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was just
No,
gonna,
go ahead.
the sort of like the industry lingo for
Mhm.
that kind of service is what's called a virtual CIO, right?
Mhm.
If you were a $1 billion company, you would have a chief information officer.
Mhm.
And his job, his or her job, their job would be to work with management to do that planning.
Right.
And so part of this service is the VCIO part, which is that sit down, have the meeting with the stakeholders and make sure everybody's on the same page with what you need to accomplish, what's the budget, and how do we get there?
All right.
I guess my question was, with that system that Calvin is talking about, would that make it easier to manage versus you have to look at everybody's computer and and that kind of thing?
Slightly,
Oh,
I mean, it's a
okay.
trade-off.
Mhm.
Honestly, in that
Mhm.
specific, situation, you kinda have to look at, is it, sometimes,
Mhm.
it's just not, it doesn't make sense cost-wise to have a central server if you have 3 users that need to work remotely. Let's say the number's 3.
Yeah.
So 3 users, it's actually kind of easier and long-term better to have a PC here and a laptop they connect to the PC. You get to 5 users, now it's, maybe it's better to not have those 5 PCs, but centralize all that.
Mhm.
It's a difficult call, I mean, and that's just part of the conversation again, too. What are the costs and the advantages to doing it this way versus that way? What's the budget, what's the priority?
Because that would include both offices, right? That would include yours and or no?
There's only so much my office can work remotely with, because we still deal with some hard files, and that kind of thing. So, I mean, there's certain things we can do, and while we've had people out sick, they've been able to work remotely, but I've had to get them the information. It's not like it's all in the computer. I'd have to, scan documents and say, okay, draw these while you're home, sketch them, redo the sketches. So for my office, we can do so much remotely and other stuff we just can't.
Okay.
So when you say hard files, like which files, like what work would that be, and which files do you do that's not on a computer?
The old property record cards that have old sketches that haven't been updated, that information. We are scanning everything as we get it, but we still have a lot that aren't scanned. And sometimes you have to pull the folders to look at the old notes to kind of figure out what transpired and what is the true information you're looking at, especially when someone's resketched it and it doesn't make sense. Does it make sense with the pictures, the old pictures at that point?
Is that, and I'm asking this out of you know, it's not knowing, but is that something we need to look at moving towards modernizing?
Well, I mean, now we take digital pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And so that all goes and gets saved into the system. So we have all that at our fingertips.
Right.
And as we're scanning more, we have more at our fingertips. But right now, we don't have all the sketches sketched into a electronic version.
Right.
So some of that, yeah, it's just,
It is, I don't know, it just
you can
sounds-
come in the office and I can
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
show you what we do and what we have.
It
And
just sounds like in 2022, that's something that all those old files, we need to get modernized so they are digital.
Right.
It just seems like for us to still be doing stuff off of paper and, you know, looking at files in the cabinet.
You never saw our back room. We're still in City Hall,
And,
did
and
ya?
I know it sounds like, I'm sure it's probably a big project and a big undertaking. It's not gonna be easy, but I'm just wondering if that's something we may need to, as an organization, you know, look at, maybe having to go down that path.
And it's so nice because you can scan it and it goes to the
Right.
computer.
Right,
Whereas before,
right,
that was never even heard of years ago.
right. Yeah,
I mean, that conversation really gets into one of the really key important parts of what we're trying to accomplish
Mhm.
with this
Right,
proposal.
right, right.
Let's have these conversations.
All right.
Specifically, let's have these conversations, you know, depending on, I don't know what, if it would be quarterly or twice a year,
Right.
but we'd have to work out those details. But that conversation, there isn't an opportunity for that conversation to happen right now. There isn't a structure for that conversation to happen right
Right.
now. So that's an important part of what we're trying to accomplish here. Again, if you think in terms of, if in a perfect world, you would have me here, 8 hours a day, you know, or an IT person here, but for 10 people, it doesn't make sense to have somebody here for 40 hours a week. The expense would be way more than what you're looking at here. Are you gonna find somebody to come in for 10 hours a week? There's no way. There's not enough good IT people out there that are gonna say, yeah, I'll come help you out for 10 hours a week. So that's where we're, that's the, and this is, you know, this is much bigger than the township. This is the whole industry. This is the whole IT industry. Across the board, everybody's moving into it. Either, if you're too small to have an IT staff, everybody's moving into a managed services approach so that we can have these conversations, so that we can make sure that everything is up to date, so that we can proactively react when somebody has something pop up on their screen and they're not sure what it is, they just kind of click and close their eyes and hope that it goes away, you know? 'Cause that's not where we want to be, you know?
All right.
Well, my nephew, he's IT for the Pentagon, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
My
very
brother
cool.
Harlan's son.
You know?
Yeah,
Awesome.
so, yeah.
Fantastic.
So I understand what you're talking about, but I understand what Calvin is saying. If we could make Maida's life a little easier too, if that's all she had to do was push a button, you know, makes Patrick's life a little easier if that's all he has. You know, you never know. One day he might have to, you know, if you don't know if you get sick and you just have to be at home for a week, or you know, maybe he had to have
Having
surgery on his
surgery.
knee or something, and
let's
and
hope
he's
not.
home. He can just work like
Let's
that.
hope not.
You know? I hope not too.
Let's
but-
hope not.
You know, but I'm just saying, if we could just get things to where
Fix a lot.
it's more up to date, and we're in the 20th century, and maybe don't have
Trustee
to go to
You
the
got a
file
question?
cabinets.
we're getting there,
Okay.
but
So you're just looking for us to okay this total monthly cost? Is that what the question is?
well, and this, I think, Liz put it into the budget under
Yes,
the insurance
under the
because
insurance,
it kind of falls under
'cause it
risk
falls under
management,
risk
I
management.
think.
Okay.
So you'll see that in the
Oh,
in the budget
uh-huh.
as yeah.
I think overall, I mean, it's, again, I've been in IT for 15 years more. The break fix world is very easy to work in. You have a problem, I come in and fix it. Like I say, I've been slow to move into this. I've been too slow to move into this, partly because it's a difficult conversation when you say this is a dramatic shift in the expenditure that we're making for IT, and how you know, so it is, you know, it's a conversation. I've got a lot of customers, and I'm having this conversation with all of them, like, I'm trying to take care of you, but in this model that we're working in, I can't actually take care of you, and it's no good anymore. I'm not doing you any favors by allowing you to continue to work in this model that doesn't really actually keep you safe and keep you moving forward.
It's got you running, huh?
Yeah, it's not working for anybody.
Yeah.
It's not good for anybody.
And, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
And you had said you probably spend about an hour a month on each computer. So the $100 is coming in, basically reviewing everything type of thing, or somebody
Yeah.
might, but Spigot's rate is $125 per hour, correct?
Yes.
So just by keeping it monitored, we're getting a little bit of a
Yeah,
hourly.
Yes, so overall, we're looking at efficiency. We're bringing tools in. We're gonna put a platform in place on everybody's computer that makes it much easier for us to do our job. So we're getting efficiency, so yes, we can work, I mean, if you kind of look at it at an hourly rate, we can work at a little bit lower hourly rate. But again, and it also factors in to mentally how you can think about, I think we're looking at 10 or 11 users. Right? And if you figure each user does need about an hour a month, then that's, how many hours, if you had somebody in staff, in-house, you would need somebody. So it kind of gives you a kind of a general sense of what would it cost if we were to hire that person to come in for 10 hours a week, 15 hours a week, and give you some comparison, some sense for that part of the financial aspect of it, if that makes sense.
I just know I get interrupted quite often because they'll get a message pop up on their screen, or this didn't work, or that didn't. And if I can't figure it out, then I have to call you. And then it's trying to determine and work backwards, trying to determine what actually took place. So does this make it quicker for you to,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's.
I guess he takes your computer.
It does get frustrating to come in to work and everybody runs in your office. Well, my computer won't turn on, or my printer won't work, or I
You
can't
need
get
new
an email.
computers?
No. It's just, and I'm like, and it gets frustrating. So if somebody can monitor this and they can intercept these things before it gets to the point where they're in my office complaining about the computer not turning on, I would greatly appreciate that.
Well, that and your response is, well, open a ticket and you get it taken care of.
Right. That's right.
And you don't really have to think about it beyond that.
Right. So we need to really think about this, because I think this will be something good for us. I really do, especially if we want to move into the one computer world. Huh?
There you
Right?
go.
Are there any more questions, trustee?
I don't have any.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Very insightful.
The,
Goes into it.
the next order of business is the supervisor report. And let me see what I got today. Nothing. Can you guys believe that? I have nothing today. Do I have anything today, Maida?
Huh?
I have nothing today. I don't have anything
Not
today.
that I know of.
No, nothing today. So next order of business is assessor report.
So I have something, but mine is pretty brief. It's just a quick explanation that goes with the budget because of the new software that I'm looking to get.
I hope it's
And
going.
how that change, which line items that would affect. So I just wanted to give you a heads up like that when you're looking at the
So is
budget.
your software going to update so you don't have to go in the file cabinet?
It's gonna help a great deal.
Really old sketches.
I know. I don't want to lose them, but
Yes.
Yeah. Can I have one at my house?
You can,
Frame them and put them on the
hey,
wall.
you can keep one for Barb. I've read it already.
yeah.
Okay.
No, I got enough. Oh, you have one, don't
I
you?
have one.
That's right. I had you read it. You don't want one with a signature though? Do you want?
guess
Do
so.
you need to put one in Mike's thing because he probably want it?
Okay. Yeah. Get the mic. Get him to call Mikey Mike.
So that's all I have. I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on what line items it affects and why.
And that's where you were going to different townships to see?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And our attorney's looking over one of the contracts for me just to kind of see, make sure that's on the up and up too, so.
So which one did you go with?
I haven't
You
finalized
still ain't
it.
made it up?
I'm leaning,
It's like
I'm
it's so
leaning really
simple. I don't even
strongly
know which
one way,
one.
but that's
I
why
know
I
which
gave.
way to go, and I ain't even in the assessor's office.
Wouldn't you love to go grocery shopping
Which way
with her?
which way are you gonna go?
The one that had everything you needed.
Oh yeah, I'm leaning that way.
That's what I'm saying. You could have did that
But-
a month ago.
But our attorney has the contract
Oh,
for
okay.
that one, and I
Contract.
gotta
Let's
make
look
sure
at it.
that's all good.
Okay, okay.
Can't close any doors until I have everything figured out.
Okay. Got too many windows open.
All righty. Next on the business is public comment. Any public comments?
No, it's not.
No?
It's trustee.
Trustee.
I just did trustees. I did. Oh, I'm sorry. Next on the business is trustees report. I checked it off. I'm sorry. Trustees, I apologize. Please forgive me. Anything from the trustees, I apologize. Please.
What did we decide, or was I gone,
Decide.
with the art museum?
We hadn't talked about it. We're going to vote on it at the next meeting.
Oh, the next meeting.
At the next
okay.
meeting. So by then, hopefully, I'll have the actual grants done,
Oh, okay.
and you guys can look over them, and then we can make our decision.
Oh,
from
so you're
there.
gonna have all the grants done?
That's the plan.
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
plan. That's what I'm working on. All right.
Okay.
Oh, wait, you say something like that?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Two things with respect to Spigot. One thing I would like to see is how much do we spend each month? Like how much did we spend on it last year? I'm sure it's probably less than this, but that'll be a good data point to have.
Yeah, I've been, because I think I
You've been-
asked for it
Mhm.
previously.
Yeah, you did.
And
You
it
did.
was like up to a certain point, but I would like to see, like, in a whole year.
For the whole year?
Know, like, which would be things that are included in that type of service,
Right.
and what are we
Yeah.
spending beyond that
Yeah.
on, like, special projects.
Well,
Because there is the Spigot ticket every month.
Yeah.
And it was more so when our systems were older, because we had some systems that were running some pretty old software, and when the software is not supported, you start to get those different, and then this is where we're calling those guys back and forth. So I can actually get the print off for the whole year, and maybe we can go through and see what was actual projects where they had to hook up hardware, and what was actual tickets that we had to do as far as
Right.
fixing things so things can work properly. Maybe that's something to say.
No.
Okay. So yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, that we can.
Yeah, because I
Okay.
do remember when she got the.
Yep.
We never seen it, Calvin. We just, you know, hey.
Yeah, right. You guys didn't see it. You know.
Yeah, he just gave it to me.
Hey, you know why you guys didn't see it?
Why?
You guys didn't ask for it. She asked for it. She asked for it.
Well, it's things I asked for and everybody got.
Like what? Can't think of it, can you? Yeah, get out of here. Boo.
No one can ever come up with
Right.
when you put it on the spot.
Uh-huh.
Right.
So, you guys want project-based cost versus actual ticket.
Or just the whole thing, and then,
Okay.
A total at the bottom. Or
yeah, and
Yeah,
then
we
we
can
could
total.
look, because, just to see the whole thing would be
Yeah.
good.
I'll get what
And
I'll do
then I
is
can highlight
what
it.
I'll do is print off everything that because she has pretty much in there what's a ticket and what we bought for now that stuff. How do we
Some
do
of
that?
that, if it's equipment, it might come out of capital, but we
Come out
didn't
of
have too much
capital.
out of capital this
No,
year.
we didn't. Okay.
Which is any Spigot tickets.
Okay. All
Yeah.
tickets.
Tickets.
Yeah, so we can see what that total is.
What I will do is I will run that
That's a lot for a month.
if I can the day of the meeting, so it's the most current. Okay.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Because
Yeah.
oh yeah, there it is.
Hey, that's a salary right there. A
And
month.
the other thing that I'm gonna see what you guys think, but if we're gonna go down this path, I think we need to get some of the quotes from other providers.
Yeah, I mean, it's reasonable. Is there
Well,
other?
now let me
what
tell
are
you
the
guys
other
this right
IT
here.
Providers. Then we have to put that whole like thing together.
But
right?
hold on, let me stop you guys right here. Spigot wires this building. Not gonna let nobody else in here. He's not gonna do it. I can ask him. Spigot wires this building. He wires everything for everybody in this building, and this is John's building. it's going to be very difficult for us to get somebody else in here to do this stuff for us. John's not going to let it happen. I'll give it a shot. I'll ask him, and we can see. Yes. And Maida can attest to this. He is very, very particular about who he has come in this building and doing anything.
Yeah, we had
So-
to use Spigot when we came.
Yeah, but like I said, we can definitely see what's out there. I mean, definitely see what's out there. Yeah,
I was thinking, why would that be?
because I had to actually ask him to have the guys come in and put the cameras in. When we had our cameras put in, we had to ask. And he was reluctant, very hesitant about it. I was like, hey man, listen, we need these cameras in here, and these guys are the guys who can do it. So that was so.
Okay, I think we need to get the quotes, even if it comes down to the owner won't let anyone else come in.
Mhm.
I think we still need to get the quotes.
We can get the
know
quotes.
We're paying way more than what the market is, and we know we're being forced to because he won't let nobody else in.
We can get the quotes.
So that's still information we need to have.
Mhm.
I mean, thank you for letting us know that we might not be able to get anyone else,
Mhm.
but we still need to know what is the market price of these services, and not just going blind with him because the building makes us do it.
We can get it
He's been with us for how long?
since we got here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we
I
can
mean,
definitely
and not
do
to
it.
settle- I mean, it sounds like everyone has a good relationship with him. He's
Mm-hmm.
doing a great job. But if we're going to a point of spending $1,300 a month,
Yeah.
I really don't have a problem getting another quote. We can definitely get other quotes. Do you guys have any suggestions who to reach out to? If you guys got them, give them to me.
I'll see if my nephew will fly in.
Because
too bad.
because getting these quotes do take time.
Yeah.
And I got grants to write and every doggone thing else. So
Yeah.
I can definitely do some. If you guys have any suggestions, and I can actually tick and see who has provide IT services in this area.
This type of, specifically this, what is he calling it?
Yeah, managed service.
service.
Yeah.
Managed services. That's
My
right.
guess is not a lot of.
Yeah.
Well, we can find out. We sure
Good to
can.
know.
Absolutely, managed services. And if their prices are considerably lower, then me and John can have a discussion.
And that's the-
'Cause I don't mind having a discussion.
Where it could be to negotiate a better price if other people are, you know, so.
Good idea. So absolutely, we can do that. I'll look up managed services out because Google is the king of search engines. And I wish I learned tonight. Google is #1 and YouTube is #2. So hey, we can look up
I'm
Google
sure
search it.
between here in Rockford, there's a few.
Yeah, I'm sure
there's a
there.
couple of companies that could.
At least just give you some numbers.
Uh-huh. I think I know one off the top of my head, but I'm gonna keep that to myself. And I'm gonna check with them. All right.
Cool.
Trustees, anything else?
I guess not.
Okay. Well, the next order of business is public comment. Any public comments? No public comments? Okay. Any other business coming for the town? This is where usually the clerk chimes in and says something. No? Okay.
No.
All righty, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Wait a minute, Joy. Until 4:30 p.m. Monday, March 21st, 2022.
I guess.
All righty, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Yes.
Motion carries, meeting adjourned.